Hi guys, welcome back to the sewing tutorial of our beautiful corset top. So these are the things I'll be working with. I'm working with my stay, my bra cup, bias, my Regilene bonings, my fabric and my patterns. So I'm going to cut out all my patterns. Now I'm needing a black lining for this, so I'm going to cut out all my black lining, all my patterns. I'm cutting 4 of these, 2 lining and 2 main fabric. I'm cutting these 2 and these 2, these 4, 2 lining and 2 fabric. So I'll cut them out and we'll continue. So I've gone ahead to cut out my fabric and the lining. I'm using a black lining for this. So I'll go ahead to pad it with my stay. So I've gone ahead to use my stay to iron all the pieces I have. I stayed both the fabric and the lining. So now it's time to start joining my core. Now we'll start joining, and I'll be starting with my core. Now to join my cup, I'm going to make sure that I have the center front, which is here, and the side front, which is here. Center front and side front, that's for the cup. So this is my side and this is my center. I'll start with the main fabric. I'll start with the main fabric and I'll keep this one, the lining, aside. So I'll start with the main fabric. And I'm going to join the both cup this way, and I will start from the down here. I'm going to join on 0.5 inch. So I'm going to join this. And here, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'll do the same thing for this other side. I'm going to join like this. Starting from the hem, this part, on 0.05 half inch. So I'm going to do this. I will do the same thing for the lining. Then we'll continue. I'm going ahead to join my cup. And I also went ahead to press open the seams. Now I'm going to place it on my already made bra cup. So I'm going to trim off some of this excess. I'll be trimming it off for all the curves. I've trimmed out the seams, so I'm going to be keeping this one aside. That's the lining. I'll keep it aside and work with my main fabric. So to place my cup, I'm going to be looking for this point. Now I want to look for the center front, which is here. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be placing it this way. Now I'm going to fold this into two. You can use your pen to mark, or you can notch. This is to get the midpoint. So I'm going to notch. I'll notch for both cups. So I'm going to be placing it this way. I'm going to be looking for the down side. This is the down, and I'll place it this way, making sure it's touching the cup, the seam. So now I added 0.5 round my cup. I'm making sure that I will have 0.2 plus this point. This cup will have round our cup is like 0.2 plus what I added should be up to 0.5, and I'm going to pin it down. I'm going to be pinning it down. Once I'm sure that this space is matching, I'm going to pin it down. See what I'm doing? I'm just dragging it to make sure it's flat, and I can pin at the middle. So I'm going to be dragging it. I'm going to be dragging it to make sure that it's flat and it goes round. See what I'm doing? So now it has gone all round and it's firm. I'm just making sure I'm correcting everywhere that is folded. So yeah, I'll do the same thing for this one. I'll do the same thing for this. Pin it down. Alright, so this is what I have. This is it. So I'm going to be joining round this cup, round this space, this allowance I have on my cup. I'm going to run it round. I'll do the same thing for the both cup. And for this other one, for the lining, I'm going to be joining it to the bodies, to the center front. I'm going to be joining it. What you will do is to check your center front. What you have, where your center front is, mine is here. So I'm going to be bringing it to the center front to match. I will check for this other one to know this is the center front. So I'm going to match it up with the center front. I'm going to be matching it up like this, and I'm going to sew it all around. I'll do that and sew my cup. before I join to my main fabric. So guys, I've gone ahead to sew my cup round and I'll keep it aside. And I also went ahead to join my cup for my lining. I've joined the cup for my lining. I'll also keep it aside. Now the next thing I'll be doing is to work on my boning lines. Now what I'll do is to work on my boning lines by, I'm going to come down here by 1/2 inch. I'm going to rule that down. All my boning lines, I'll bring them down. So I'm going to rule down the middle of my front, that's the center. I'm going to rule it down. So this is where my boning line is going to come from. Now, at the hem side, I'm going to go up by 1 inch. I'm supposed to do 1/2 inch, but I want to do 1 inch. I'll go up by 1 inch. So this is where it's going to stop. My bonings won't get to the hem. I'll just stop at 1 inch. So on this part, on the hem, I'm taking 1 inch on both sides of this my center front line that I just ruled. I'm taking 1 inch on both sides. So here I'll come to my cup area, which is here, and the midpoint of my cup. You can do this to get the midpoint of your cup. You can notch it or you can just mark. Let me notch. So from there, I'm going to connect the midpoint back to the 1 inch I have at my hemline. I'm going to connect it back to the 1 inch I have here. And I'll still come from there like this. The style you have, that's how the boning is. So now I'll still come from here. I'm going away by 0.5 inch. I'll go out 0.5 and I'll come down. I'll come down to, see, okay. I'll come down to this point. You can also have another style line here. It depends on what you want, but this is fine. I'll repeat the same thing at this point. I'll also close and check for my midpoint of the midpoint of my curve and notch. And I'll bring the notch down to the 1 inch I have here. And now I'm going to check what I have with my tape. I'm going to be checking what I have for this point. From here, I'll come down by here is 8.5. What I have here is 8.5. I'll bring it to this point. I'll go away by 1/2 inch. And I'll come down by 8.5. Automatically, it gives me 8.5, which is here. Now I'm going to connect my 1/2 inch down to that 8.5 point. So these are all the style lines I'm going to be having. These are all the boning lines I'm going to be having. Now I'm going to go to my machine to sew my boning on. Now I'm coming down by ½ inch. I'll come down by ½ inch and I'm going to be sewing all the way to that 1 inch. I'll do the same thing here. I'll be stopping ½ inch away here. I'll be stopping ½ inch away. I'll do the same thing here also, ½ inch away. So this is what I will do to join my bone lines. I'm going to join, I have a tutorial on how to make so I'm going to join it like this. I'll be placing it like this. Now I'm going to be joining it like this, straight down to the 1 inch. I'll do the same thing for these other lines before fixing my curve. So guys, I'm going ahead to sew my Vaseline boning to my front. So I'm going to iron it for it to sleeve. So this is how it's looking. I'm going to iron it for it to sleeve. But before that, I'll keep it aside and work on my back. So this is my back. So this is my back. I'm going to create a style line for my bonings. So for my back, I can have as much as I want, even for my front. Now look at what I did. For the front, you can also add another channel here if you want to. You can add another channel here, but I think this is okay for me because my Vaseline bone is not much again. So I'll come down to this point. Let me say from my center back, I'll take ½ inch. I'll take ½ inch from my center back. And from there, I'll be taking 1.5. So from this ½ inch, I'll be taking 1.5. This my rule is 1.5, so that's why I'm using to mark out the 1.5. I'll also take 1.5. I'll also take 1.5 here. You can have as many as you want here. So I'm having 1, 2, 3, and for the top, I'll add another channel here to turn. I'll add another channel here. I'll come down by 0.5. I'll come down here by 0.5, and I'll be joining it from this 0.5. Now this will be my turning allowance. So I'm coming down here by 0.5. I'll do that first here. So what I'm doing is I'm going to join here first. Then whatever boning I'm going to join here, I'm going to hide it under the one I have here. So this is what the first thing I'll do. I'll join here first before I start joining for these 3. Like I'm supposed to do 0.5 again here, but my one is not plenty, so I'll work with what I have. I'll do that, then iron, and we'll continue. Bye. Hi guys, now I finished joining my bonings, and I also went ahead to press it. So this is my bonings. Now the next thing I'll do is to come in with my bias tape. I'm using a black color for this, and I'm going to be running it on this my boning lines. Let me use this small one. I'm going to be running it on this my boning lines like this. It's going to be like this. So this is what I'm going to be doing. I'll do this for all the boning lines, and after that I'll go up by, let me see, on my cuff. I'm going to be having this line too on my cuff, so I can go up by, let me see how many inches from here. This is 4 inches. So what I'll just do is to come down here by 2.5. Can you see? I can come down from here by 2.5 here. So from there I'll come down by 5 inches. Let me see, from there, let me see the point I have. Yeah, I have 5 inches. So I'm going to be running 5 inches here. I'm coming down by 2.5. Here is my center front. I'll come down by 2 inches for my center front, 2 inches, and for my side front I'm coming down by 2 inches, and I'm going to be connecting it. Let me show you what I mean. I can use my chalk to come down by 2.5 here. Here's my 2.5, and I'll come down for my center front by 2 inches here, and for my side front 2 inches also. Now I'm going to be connecting the 3 points together. Now I'm going to run a bias tape round it, not round, right? I'm going to run my bias tape all through from this point. From that point I'm going to be doing this all the way here. This is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing this. Then from there I'll first of all come down from this point till this point. So I'm going to put another one across it. This is just like a cup styling, but it is not a cup styling, just is the fancy, the design that will make it look like a cup styling. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be running all my bias on the boning lines, and the same thing with my cup. After doing that, I'm going to be joining the sides together for the main fabric, and for my line I'm going to be joining the sides together. As you can see, I'm going to be joining it together. After running my bias strip, I'll join the sides together. I'll do the same thing for this other side. I'll do the same thing for my lining. I'll join the sides together for my lining. I'll be joining the sides together. Before we move to cup, now we are going to be joining our cup after I finish running my tape designs. That's when I'm going to join this cup, because it's going to, those designs that it's supposed to hide inside like this, it's supposed to be inside, so you have to do all your bias work before doing this. So I'll finish all this and we'll continue. So guys, I'm going ahead to join all my bias. And this is the back, and I also went ahead to attach the back. Now this is a black colored boning, Regeline boning. It has black and white. This is a black color boning, so we could use that too. Now I'm going ahead to join my back to my front. So this is it. I'm getting this together. So this is it. Now, and I also went ahead to join my lining. Again, I went ahead to join my lining. went ahead to also join my lining. So I have what we call, you can use bias for your loopholes, but I'm going to be using this. I created a channel with this thing, with my lining, and I went ahead to turn it. So I'll be cutting out 2 inches for this. If you can't do this, please use your bias. So I went ahead to cut out 2 inches. So to fix my loopholes, I'll come down here by 0.5 inch here, 0.5 inches is here. So on that point, I'm coming down by 1 inch. You can do 0.75, but I'll come down by 1 inch. By 0.5. Okay, so I have all my lines. I came down by 0.5, which is here. So from there, I came down by 1 inch space. That's what I'm giving for my loopholes. Now I'm going to be attaching my loop to this point. This is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be attaching it like this. I'm going to be attaching it on the lines. I'll do it for both sides. I'm going ahead to mark out this other part. So I'm going to do this and attach it with my lining. If I finish doing that, I'm going to join my lining. All the way, I'm going to be joining my lining. All the way from here, from the center back, I'm going to join my lining to this point. I'll make sure they meet, and I'll open all my seams while joining. I'll do this till the cup, round the cup, all round. I'm going to do all round joining. I'm going to join it all round, all this part, till I get to the hem. I'm going to join it like this all round. But first, I shortened my lining by 1 inch, so I'm going to make sure it matches. Shorten my lining by 1 inch, then I'm going to drag it up. So this is how it will be from the inside, and I'm going to turn everything, then give it a nice press, then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. So guys, I'm gonna head to place my loopholes here. See, this is how it's going to be when I turn it over. And this part, I did the same thing here. And I've also gone ahead to turn it down 0.5. Now what I'm going to do is to turn this other part. So guys, I'm going ahead to run my thread all around. So this is all how at the down. So it has to, I made it to turn because I reduced the lining by 1 inch. So this is how it is. And for the cup, I went ahead to sew all around through the cup. This is my lining part, and I opened this other side of my lining to turn it over to the right side. But before I do that, I'm going to notch all round. I'm going to notch the curvy parts. Anywhere you have curve, you can notch there. I'm going to notch all around my curve. At this point, you can't afford to cut through your seam line, so make sure you're not using a very sharp scissors to do this, else you might cut through your seam line. So you can go ahead to notch anywhere, but this is fine. And I also went ahead to sew a long strip for my loop. So I want to sew a long strip for my loop, and this is like 60 inches. I'm going to turn it over using my thread and my needle. I'm going to be turning it over using my thread and my needle. So I'll just turn it quickly because I think you should all know how to do this. I'm going to turn it over using my needle and my thread. I'll turn it over, then turn this over, then I'll iron and show you the final look of this dress. So guys, I'm going ahead to turn my dress. I'm going ahead to turn to the right side. So this is how the inside looks. This is what the inside looks like. Now I opened this part to turn it over, and I'm going to be hand stitching it. I'm going to be using my hand needle to hand stitch it. So it's called an invisible stitching. So it won't be obvious that this place wasn't stitched with machine. So this is my loop. I love to use this. I don't like to use the normal bias tape to do this. I like to create my own channel. So this is the back. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to cut out strip for my sleeve. It's a balloon sleeve. So what I have here is, I think I have 46 by, I have a length of 13.5 here, and I have a width, 13.5, and the width of 46. So this is what I'll use to gather my balloon. Length of 13.5. I wanted to do a length of 14, but the fabric, I don't know, not the fabric actually. So but the width is 46. Now I'm going to go to my machine, and I'm going to be folding in 1 inch, half inch twice. I'm going to be folding in 1 inch on this side, the hem, and the upper side. Now remember, this is an off shoulder, so I'm going to gather, I'm going to sew here, the down and the up. I'll do the same thing for the both sleeves. Then I'm going to be passing elastic to gather it up. So I've gone ahead to gather my elastic around my sleeve for both up and down. Do the same thing for the two sleeves. So guys, I'm going to open up the seam this way. I'll open it up and I'm going to be attaching it to this armhole point, and I'll pin it down. Once I've matched this armhole and side, so I'm going to match it up together like this and pin it down. I'll be going to my machine to sew. So I'm going to go to my machine and sew on 1 inch. From here I'll be taking ½ inch. From this point, the midpoint, I'll be taking ½ inch, so it will be 1 inch. I'm just going to tack it. I'll do the same thing for this other sleeve. 1 inch to just tack it down. And that's all for this class. I'll go and do that. Then we'll see the final look of my corset top. Hey guys, so I've gone ahead to attach my sleeve. Now the last thing I'll be doing is to join the close back this place I opened for turning. So I'm going to be doing an invisible tack there, invisible stitch, using my needle, the very small tiny needle, and my black thread to do that. I think I've done something like this on this channel before. I've done something like this. So you just have to open up the seams and pass your needle on the lines. That is what I'm just going to be doing till I get to the ending point. Till I get to the end point. So alright guys, when you get to this point, like to the end point, do not cut and knot, just tie it this way. Do not cut and knot, just tie it the way I'm doing. Pass your thread and pass your needle in between your thread and pass it back. So I've done this twice so I can cut at this point. I'll go to my iron and iron it. Then that's the end. I'll wait and see. So guys, after ironing it, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. So I'm going to wear it. I'm going to put it on. I'll wear it and show you guys the final look on my body. How it looks on my body. I'm going to put it on and show you guys how it looks.